My name is Silvia Poloto. I'm a visual artist living and working in San Francisco, California. Today is Christmas Day 2024. I was born and raised in Brazil, and my parents were also born in Brazil, but none of my grandparents. My mom's parents are from Spain, and my father's parents are from Italy. Growing up, I was never exposed to any art or any culture. I loved drawing as a child, but I felt that any artistic activity would not be taken seriously. Actually, I felt being a girl was not taken seriously. So I wanted to embody the freedom my brother possessed. From my childhood perspective, being born female was a curse. I rebelled against everything feminine, and in the process, I rejected my interest in anything artistic. So my brother went to the university to study engineering, and I ended up following his path as if I had to prove I was as smart as he was. Once I finished college, I started working as an engineer, but I also started my master's degree in business administration. I did that because I was looking for something else. I didn't really like my job, and I kept thinking, is this all there is? So during these studies, I came across a class in advertising, and I found it deeply exciting. Only much later, I realized I loved it so much because, believe it or not, it was my first exposure to something creative. Once I finished my master's degree, I moved to San Francisco to work as an engineer. But by being far away from all the familiar things and expectations from others, I was finally able to see that I was not an engineer. I didn't know who I was at that point, but I knew I was not an engineer. In my spare time, I started drawing and had this strange feeling that to this day, I don't know where it came from. I wanted to work with metal. It's not like I saw something in an art gallery or museum and was inspired. It was very strange. I never really understood that. But anyway, I took a welding class and started making welded steel sculptures. I will never forget the feeling I had when I made my first welded steel sculpture. I felt I had not made the piece, but that the piece had been made through me. It was a powerful spiritual experience. And since then, my existence has been defined by an intense need to create. So for a few years, I just worked on sculptures. Not only welded steel, but also wood, cement, and stone. After a while, I took a class in photography so I could learn how to photograph my sculptures. But then I fell in love with the medium. Soon after that, I started painting. So yes, I'm constantly trying unconventional mediums and techniques. I have a deep need to reinvent myself all the time. I dislike the idea of being repetitive. I work in series, and every time I start a new series, everything changes. The materials, the format, medium, color, and content. I feel I have so much to say, and the fact that it can be expressed in different ways, it can be inspiring. Right now, at this moment, I'm about to start a new series, so I'm in this place of not knowing what's coming. This place of not knowing is very exciting because it makes me open to all possibilities. At one point, in the late 90s, I got a merit scholarship to go to the Art Institute. But soon I realized I just wanted to do my thing, so I dropped out. I believed art school I believe art school can be a good place for some, but I didn't want to teach. And also, I kind of did not want to be told how to think or have any imposed rules in my head. And I also didn't know how much time I had where I could just dedicate myself to my art. So I decided just to take my own path. My biggest influences are my emotions. And I'm not sure that would have been appreciated in art school. I have always followed my feelings. My intuition is my biggest muse, and a recurrent theme in my work is the human condition. I'm interested in the purpose of pain, in the structure of sorrow, in the anguish of grief, in the rapture of love, and in the joy of friendship and the tenderness of self-discovery. If I had to give any advice to my younger self, it would be to not go to engineering school. Sometimes, depending on the type of work I'm doing, I will listen to classical music, but most of the time I work in silence. There is so much presence in silence. I think the biggest challenge for artists is that once you start selling your work, it's very hard not to be stuck doing the same thing for monetary purposes. Once the galleries, at least most galleries, find the type of work they can sell, they want the artist to keep doing the same type of work. I really don't appreciate that. If I did just what I know it would sell, in my opinion, I would not be making art. I would be making a product. My intention when I make art is not to sell. It is to connect with something bigger than myself. Another reason I keep experimenting, exploring as many materials, subject matter, and approaches as possible is because it's a way to keep pushing the boundaries in my work. And even though I choose all these things, my work is not entirely a matter of conscious choice. My work comes from a mysterious place inside me. If someone has some kind of emotional reaction to my work, I have made my point. I want to connect through emotion. I believe our feelings form the core of what it means to be human. And I really see my work as an invitation to feel.